Live from Laserfiche headquarters in Long Beach, welcome to For the Record, a repository of Laserfiche stories featuring product insights, a look at life at Laserfiche, and a special behind-the-scenes preview of Empower. Here's your host, Ben Raffel.
Hello and welcome to For the Record, a repository of Laserfiche stories. My name is Benjamin Raffel, and for the next hour we're going to be connecting with some of our Laserfiche experts. They'll be talking about our vision, our product, and most importantly, our people. These are some of the people who are on the front lines here at Laserfiche, the ones who bring you all the product that you know and love. Today we'll be bringing out 5 of our product experts to hear their stories, their favorite product features, which could give you some insight into some of the features you might not be using, cool projects coming down the pipeline, fun stories about how they got here, and Empower, our annual conference, which is coming up quickly and making all of us here at Laserfiche really excited to reconnect with all of you. You know what Laserfiche is, and after today you'll have more of an insight into what it does, but how did it start? Laserfiche was founded by Nailing Wacker in 1987, and unlike other companies in the space, she wanted to create a software that people love to use. This idea has guided the development of our products from when we first started as a method to organize documents to bold new projects like robotic process automation. To get things started, let's invite our first guests to join us. Please welcome to the stage Justin Pava and Connie Anderson. Connie, Pava, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you guys traveled pretty far from Seattle, and you two have been with Laserfiche for a while, right?
Yeah, I've been here about 13 years.
And I've been here about 15 years.
Well, that's amazing. I'm curious, what was Laserfiche like 13, 15 years ago as opposed to the way it is today?
Well, when I started, it was definitely a lot smaller, just in terms of number of people. The development team was about half the size it is now. In fact, we shared the building that we're in with, I think it was a dentist and a doctor's office and a lawyer. And now, of course, we have the entire 5 floors of the building. It's all Laserfiche, and we're even expanding.
Yeah. And Connie, what do you specialize in here at Laserfiche?
Well, I specialize in a lot of the administrative topics in Laserfiche, particularly security. Security is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I teach about it at the conference. And it's definitely something that I love because it really rewards digging into it, learning it. You can, if you really kind of get familiar with it, you can make it sit up and do tricks.
If you don't get familiar with it, it can make you sit up and do tricks.
That's true.
So what are some of the interesting things that you can do with security that people might not know about?
Well, one of the things that people often ask me about when I'm looking at security is things like, can we make... one thing I often get a request for is it possible to make like a Dropbox? I have a workflow that's filing various things, and I want to make sure that users are just putting documents in, and then the workflow is going to whisk it off to where it needs to go. So I want to be able to make sort of like a blind drop, where people can just import things, and then it'll be handled by the system. And they always ask that as if it was a feature, and I think no, you can actually just do that as it is now with security. Similarly, people often want to be able to make a system where they can have different views for different users. Maybe one person needs to be able to see documents by their type, and another person needs to see documents by their filing date, say they're a records manager or something like that. And so you can actually use security to show different parts of the repository in different ways to different people in a very powerful way. I often get the question at Empower, people will say, well, I don't know if this is possible. It seems like it might be a feature request, it might be kind of hard. And one of the things that I love is being able to say, no, you can actually just do that right out of the box with security. It's really cool.
So speaking of Empower, Pava, you're actually a pretty popular guy at Empower. Your coming attractions class is something people are always really excited about, very well attended. But I think a lot of people want to know, have you always been an expert in ECM?
Well, when I started at Laserfiche, my first project was to benchmark the Laserfiche server. The idea here being, hey, let's run some automated tests so that every day we can make sure it's running to the proper performance, to the proper speed. And my tests were horrible. I was absolutely wretched at it. Fortunately, at about the same time, we started our records management initiative. And so I was able to focus on that and make sure that was where we wanted it to be and leave the automated testing to someone else.
Yeah, well, at Empower, what's your favorite product to talk about there?
Oh, well, my favorite product is definitely Laserfiche Connector. Basically, Laserfiche Connector is a way for organizations to link 2 applications together without requiring a developer and without needing to program. Basically, there's a wizard interface, and you can do things such as have an external application like your CRM system. And say there's information in there that has associated documents within Laserfiche. And you can actually just put a button on that screen that you click it, and it brings up those documents in Laserfiche. So it runs that search for you automatically without you having to switch between applications. Connector can actually do a lot more things besides that as well. For example, it can actually write and populate data. So it can read data from one application and use that, for example, to fill out a Laserfiche form to help kick off a business process. In the most recent release of Laserfiche Connector, version 10.3, we added the ability for it to directly launch workflows. So now Laserfiche Connector can actually start from a user in the front end and launch back-end process automation in one operation. And again, this whole thing is done through a wizard interface, so you don't have to bring in a developer. Anyone can do it. I can set them up.
Yeah, which is really important. People like me are not able to do that stuff. It's very helpful.
The neat thing about Connector as well is how we're evolving it. So we're working on a product called Robotic Process Automation, RPA. And what this does is takes a lot of the functionality of Laserfiche Connector and automates it. So instead of relying on someone sitting there and pushing a button, it actually allows you to, say, receive an email. And based on the contents of that email, maybe it's got an attachment that contains a spreadsheet of data, it can automatically go through and populate these forms, work with the external applications, set all that up in a more autonomous and automatic manner. And that's something we're very excited that we're working on right now.
And aside from that, what's your favorite thing about Empower?
My favorite thing about Empower is when I get to go and people have asked for a particular feature, or they've asked for something, or they really want something to make their lives easier, and we're able to show it to them, to give it to them. One of the things that has happened in the past few years is I teach a security class at Empower. And years ago, people would ask, this is really great, but I need a way to report on it so that I can make sure the security is set up the way I want it to be. And we took that back to the teams, and a couple of years ago, we were able to go back to Empower and say, here's this new, we've actually included these security reports. And so now you could actually do this thing that you've been asking for, and we got applause, which really made me happy, because it means that what we're working on is actually making a difference to people. I have a coworker who actually showed a feature that she was really excited about, and an attendee actually hopped up and gave her a hug because she was like, this is gonna make my life so much easier. I didn't even know. So that's really rewarding for me.
And Pava, same question. What are you most excited about Empower?
Well, definitely what I'm most excited about is talking directly with our users and our customers. We put a lot of effort into what we work on, and we want to ensure that it's really helping people's day-to-day life and making sure that it's making their work smoother and easier for them. So for example, we want to talk with them about our new functionality and see how it's working for them. And we also want to talk with them about opportunities for new items that maybe can address pain points that they still have that we haven't been able to discuss yet. The main venue that we do this in is the Information Center. And this is something that we've had at Empower for a number of years now, and it's grown into quite a large area. And what we do there is we staff members from every product team there. And attendees to Empower can come in and ask us any question they want about how the product works, how they might set up certain things to address their business processes, and also give us feature requests directly so that we can go and continue to enhance the products in the future.
That sounds great. Well, I know I speak for everyone when I say that we're really excited to see what you guys have going on at Empower. Connie, Pava, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll have you guys back in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's keep our Empower talk going. My next guests are representatives of two departments that play a huge role at Empower. Please welcome Anita Chang and Andrew Chen. Yeah, so Andrew, let's start with you. What is your role here at Laserfiche?
So my role here at Laserfiche is I'm part of the WebLink team, the Audit Trail team, and a few other in-develop teams that I'm working on. My main role now is actually working with our customers to kind of figure out how they use Laserfiche and what our next big feature is in development to make a big impact for our customers. So to do so really is I work closely with the vertical team. We set up calls with our customers. Like I mentioned, we try to figure out how our customers are using our products. Are they running into any kind of issues? How can I take their ideas, take their solutions, take it one step further, or take their problems and find a solution out of that so we can actually make everything better with the next release.
Nice. Well, Anita, what about you?
So I'm a member of the pre-sales team. So there's a lot that we do. One of the main things is we talk to our customers, similar to Andrew, we try to find out what their pain points are, but see what we can do with the Laserfiche product suite to basically get rid of those problems and even make them a better solution in the long run. In addition to that, we also lead a lot of user trainings. So we'll fly around the country and we'll teach people how to use the software. So those are a couple of things we're also very involved at Empower.
I mean, yeah, that actually sounds amazing. So let's keep going on Empower. Anita, what is your favorite thing about Empower?
So I did kind of hint about it, but Empower is really kind of our marquee user training event. So pre-sales puts a lot of time and effort into it. So every class, every lab that you're in is something that we've prepped and thought a lot about. We spend so much time on Empower that we actually move the entire team down to downtown Long Beach for the entirety of the conference. So while we're there, we have a lot of team bonding going on. Last year, we actually made some t-shirts. So we have our pre-sales problem solver t-shirt that we made for the team. While we're there, we also do a lot of collaboration with the other teams that work to put on Empower. So every single department from Laserfiche is represented, but we spend a lot of time with the developers so that we can provide a huge source of knowledge for our end users who are there.
And Andrew, what's your favorite thing about Empower?
So one of my favorite things about Empower really is it's a week long. So it gives a lot of the people at the office a week to get outside and into the conference and speak directly with our community. It's a great way to kind of understand how they're using our products and what we can learn to improve. For me, the most impactful moment was when I was still on the Laserfiche app team and we just released offline forms for the mobile Laserfiche app. After teaching one of the mobile classes, I had a group of users, resellers, VARs, come up to me and tell me how much they love offline forms, how big of an impact it affected their workflows, and how it made their work just that much more powerful because they can now submit forms without a network connection. This really made me really feel very motivated because our team actually spent a lot of long hours, a lot of overtime, working back and forth with the development, kind of discussing, arguing, trying to figure out what the best approach is. And after hearing that from our users, our community, it really helped me understand that the hard effort that we put into our products, our community, Laserfiche community, really does feel it. So those are one of the main things I liked about Empower. Another thing I like to do at the Info Center, some of you may know, I'm always there, is helping our community answer some of the questions. For example, I love it when a customer or a VAR comes up to me and says, Andrew, we need a feature request. We want to do X. So I look at them and I smile and say, well, but guess what? We can already do X, and here's how you do it. And then they immediately go on and call the IT guy and say, hey, we can already do X. Let's do it now.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Anita, you were one of the most popular class presenters at last year's Empower. I feel like the pre-sales team is kind of like the life's blood of Empower. So what are you guys bringing to the table this next year?
We also work on some things like the virtual machine, so you can take Laserfiche home, show it to people who couldn't come to conference, and basically show off all the new things that you learned and built while you were with us. But really, you'll find us all over the place, and we'll be happy to see you there.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited to see what you guys bring to the table at Empower. Thank you so much for joining us. Anita and Andrew, everyone. Next up, we have a special guest today. Ryan Schooley is going to walk us through some of his favorite tips and tricks when working with Laserfiche. Take it away, Ryan.
Thanks, Ben. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Schooley. I work on the development team for the web client. And today I'm going to share with you some of my favorite web client features that not everyone may know about. These features, in my mind, are a great way to make using the web client even more convenient. So first up, we have breadcrumb navigation. You might not know this, but if you click into the last folder of your breadcrumb bar, you'll enter into the editable breadcrumb mode. From there, you can navigate to any folder in your repository simply by typing out the folder path. And usually you can do that a lot faster than browsing folder by folder. As soon as you enter that editable breadcrumb mode, it'll display a list of the last 10 folders that you visited. You can jump to any of those folders by selecting them in the list, or you can continue typing, and that same list is going to auto-suggest folder names based on your input. I think the breadcrumb navigation bar is a great feature because it makes navigating through your folder structure faster and more efficient. After that, we have column filtering. Column filters allow you to filter entries in your contents pane based on the data in your column display. They're a great way to narrow down to a specific set of entries without having to set up a search, and they make fine-tuning reports super easy. We also have custom actions. Custom actions are really cool because it allows you to add your own customized feature to the web client toolbar. You can think of these as a framework for writing your own code that you can put inside of your web client instance. Custom actions are great for streamlining certain manual repetitive features, such as approving a student's application by setting a field value. Last thing I want to talk about today are custom tabs. Custom tabs let you embed a web page into your web client metadata pane. You can embed any internal page on your network. You can embed external pages. You can actually even embed other Laserfiche web products. So for instance, you could set up a custom tab that embeds a Laserfiche form into your web client and set it up so that when you select an entry in the web client, it'll auto-populate that form with information from the entries fields. That's all I have to talk to you today about web client features. If you're interested in any of that, please check out my class at Empower, Integrating with the Web Client. I'm going to talk about all of that in a lot more detail.
Ryan, that's great. Thank you so much. But before we let you go, I'm just curious. How did you get started at Laserfiche?
I remember when I first heard about Laserfiche, I was reading about Nei Ling, and I was really inspired by her vision for the company. I like working at Laserfiche because unlike some of the other big tech companies, you get to feel like you have a real impact on the product that you're developing.
Thanks, Ryan. That was some good stuff, like a mini Empower class. All right, we're back with our guests, Anita Chang, Andrew Chan, Justin Pava, and Connie Anderson. Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you.
Now, Anita, how about a preview? What classes are you going to be teaching at Empower this year?
Well, this year at Empower, you can actually find me at the Intro to SDK class. I'll also be doing a business process workshop where we go ahead and pick a process and I'll build it on the fly. But the one I'm most excited about is a new lab that we're going to be introducing. It's for process automation in the cloud. So what process automation is, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is it's going to be a new automation platform for our SaaS offering, Laserfiche Cloud. And so what it's going to do is it's going to bring in a lot of that functionality that exists in our on-premises Laserfiche workflow. It's also going to pair it with new stuff that no one has seen yet. So things like decision tables, business rules, a lot of new functionality as we move a lot of our automation pieces closer together.
Excellent. And Pava, what about you?
Well, I'm doing 2 classes this year at Empower. So the first one that I'm doing is Connie and I are actually both doing this. And this is basically going to be advanced tips and tricks geared towards power users. So we're going to be showing off a number of items that end users can use in the Laserfiche web client to help them be more efficient with what they do. And then, of course, the other session that I'm going to do is Laserfiche Coming Attractions. I do that every year, and it's a great window into what the development team is working, and we're really excited, of course, to be able to show off and give these sneak previews of our upcoming items that we're working on.
So people can really expect a lot of exciting things from Empower. For a lot of our community, Empower is a time for them to not only take amazing classes, but they can get info on products they might not know about, hear information about things coming down the pipeline, enjoy the beautiful Southern California weather we take advantage of. But Andrew, earlier we were talking about the Information Center, and I know you're kind of the boss of the Information Center. Can you give us some insight about the Info Center that people might not know about?
I'm not the boss, really, but it's more of a place where, like Papa mentioned, where all the Laserfiche community can come and meet the face behind the software. the people that developed it, people that tested, the people that designed the product. You can learn about each product. You can ask questions, ask how to, something's not working right, things like that. One of the things about the Information Center that I feel is really cool too is you can try out the new software that we just released. If, for example, you saw someone teaching a new class about a new product, come straight to the Info Center. There'll be someone there that can answer your questions. And also, I find it's a really great, I tell everyone that comes to the Info Center, you're welcome to just come, grab a coffee, just relax. I mean, you can network with your people, network with other customers, network with resellers, or even network with us. I mean, we're more than happy to just be there to get to know you and have you know us.
And there's a lot of other amazing things in the exhibit hall as well, right? I know that this year the customers can watch the Run Smarter Awards in the exhibit hall, which is how we recognize people that are using our software in innovating and exciting ways. But I also hear that there's going to be a repeat of something fun we did last year, the escape room. Anita, can you go into some detail about that?
Yeah, so the escape room is a project that was really creative and allowed us to showcase a lot of the features that we wanted to bring to people and introduce them to in a way that wasn't just about how they work or, you know, something that was a little bit more mundane. So we wrapped a lot of new Laserfiche features into our puzzle room where people can solve challenges and escape the room in a certain length of time with a group of other users. So one story that I actually heard while I was out teaching a regional training was that there was one woman who came to Empower without anybody else from her organization. So she was there and trying to meet new people and really find out more about Laserfiche. And one thing she did was sign up for the escape room. So she got paired up with 5 other people who were just at Empower by themselves. They made it out of the room, of course, and they were also able to, you know, establish some connections and learn more about each other.
I'm really looking forward to it because I don't work on the escape room, so I get to actually do it and see if I can escape, which is always really exciting to me.
Yeah, so I can't spoil it too much for Connie, so I'm not going to tell you what's coming in the escape room, but definitely look forward to when you can sign up for it.
Yeah, it was actually a really cool thing to do. I know you guys are going to take it to the next level this year, but Andrew, what has been your favorite project to work on here at Laserfiche?
Favorite project? That's a bit of a tough question because honestly, every project I worked on has always been special to me. But let's go with the recent project that I worked with, WebLink, Public Portal on the Cloud. So basically, my role here was that I really got the privilege of taking WebLink 10 a step further, in which basically I spoke with a lot of our customers, tried to get an idea of how they use Public Portal, what they used it for, and any kind of bottlenecks that they ran into, whether something that was a showstopper for them, things like that. So to kind of give an example was where one of the users came back to us and said that they hoped that they were able to zoom in the preview tab to kind of see more details within the document as they're browsing through the folder browser. And so we took that into consideration, and we now added a zoom in and zoom out button for them so they can easily navigate through their documents without opening them. Another feature, for example, would be they will have a long, maybe 50 to 100 pages of documents, and they want to search within the document. Back then with WebLink, you weren't able to do that. So what we did was that we integrated the searching within a document so users can actually search when they're inside the document viewer, view into the document, and look for keywords so that they don't have to just scroll through pages over and over. They can just search for it, find it, click it, view it, done. So those are really just some of the few examples that I was able, these are actually requests that our users gave back to us. So all the features that we have was all from them.
And Pava, same question.
Well, for me, my favorite project really has to be records management. I mean, it's something I've worked on for quite a while here. And I think it's really interesting because a lot of people think there's not much to records management, but there's a lot of nuances there. And what I've tried to do over the years is make sure that it can be efficient and streamlined to really make people's jobs more easier. And we're continuing to add functionality to it. Later this year, we're bringing in some new features that will really help people expand how they're using records management. For example, we're adding functionality that will allow people to be more flexible with how they set up their retention schedules and their retention policies throughout the repository. And then we're also adding native activities within Laserfiche workflow so that people can really take records management and make it part of their overall business processes.
Nice. And Connie, what was your favorite project?
Well, I've already talked about how much I love security, But another thing that I really like is the what I think of as kind of one of the hidden gems of the Laserfiche suite is federated search, which is part of the Rio suite and the Laserfiche Rio suite. And federated search is really cool because at its most basic, it allows you to search across multiple repositories from a single interface. So you have several repositories with different information, and you can search across all of them at once. But as of Laserfiche 10.3.1, we actually expanded that functionality such that you can now search across basically any website you might want. So if you have information in, for instance, a Laserfiche discussion site, or even a third-party site that's not related to Laserfiche at all, you can kind of pipe that into federated search, and it gives you kind of a one-stop shopping for searching whatever information your users might want, which I think is super cool.
And finally, Anita, what about you? Favorite project?
Yeah, so as a pre-sales engineer, I get to actually make stuff using Laserfiche. So one of my favorite projects was actually for Laserfiche itself. So we had an arts initiative where we were inviting local artists to come by and paint murals for our building. So to collect the submissions from these artists, we created a Laserfiche form. We customized it, had them upload their portfolio so we could save it within the Laserfiche repository and view them all from the same place. And then the other cool thing we did with that was for each of the people on our floors, we wanted them to be able to vote as to who is going to paint the mural on their specific floor. So we sent out a form, and I know, Connie, you guys got to fill it out too.
Yes.
But
I was pretty excited by that.
yeah, the form lets you send a link to someone for them to fill it out remotely. So we collected the information, and we even used some of the built-in reporting tools. So instead of having to tally everything by hand, we just went to the reports tab and collected the information for who gets to paint the mural on each floor.
Essentially, you are some of the people that helped create Laserfiche, and I think a lot of people want to know, as product experts, what are your favorite products of Laserfiche? Andrew?
I would say my favorite product would be the Laserfiche app. The reason why I say that is because nowadays, if you look through statistical data, everyone's always on the go, always traveling. So people are doing work on their mobile devices, viewing reports, things like that. So in a Laserfiche perspective, I mean, you have people using the Laserfiche app using offline features. Also, by having notifications notify you when you have to check for a task, there's something assigned to you, you got to review it. A lot of these things that we're doing with the Laserfiche app is to make your life easier and more efficient when you're on the go. You don't have to check your phone. We'll tell you when to check your phone. So things like these, I feel that as we enhance off of these more on-the-go features for our community, it will really make and put the Laserfiche app into a more powerful and impactful position.
Excellent, excellent. And Anita?
So for me, it's got to be workflow. It's extremely logical. So once you kind of get your hands dirty with building workflows, you can do quite a lot.
And Anita, what are some of the cool features people might not know about workflow?
Okay, so I'm only going to list a few because I could keep talking for days about this. But first off, a pretty simple one that not everyone knows about is the token dialog. So that's pretty much built in anywhere you can use a token in workflow and other places too. But you can apply formatting, different functions, all within that one place that you're trying to use your token. So instead of having to do a lot of activities to change the information you're inputting, you had that built-in system right there. The next one that I'd like to talk about is something I learned about just last year, and this was actually told to me by Maruna, who is basically a workflow guru and all-around Laserfiche celebrity. So she actually told me that within the update Word document activity, which is something you can use with mail merge documents to format information and send out dynamic content that you're generating. There's a checkbox in the advanced properties pane that you can just check, and it will take all of that content that you've formatted and throw it into the body of an email. So for those of you who have made emails with workflow, sometimes it takes a little bit of HTML to make it look exactly how you want. But with a merge document, all you have to do is take that content and literally just zap it up into that one token. So that's really cool. The final thing I'll leave you with, this is more of a just did you know, but within your search activities, when you're searching the repository, you're finding entries, sometimes you're going to want information about those documents. And instead of having to retrieve field information after the fact, there's just, again, checkboxes that you can just click and select which properties you want. So you could say, oh, I know it's going to have this template, I'm just going to grab those field values, or you can even get information about its records management properties, for example. And then once you check it off, it's all ready to go, and you can keep proceeding on in your workflow.
So what's the coolest thing you've ever seen Workflow do?
So I saw an answers post where someone actually used Workflow to kick off a process to make a pot of coffee. So what they were doing is they were using a lot of the integration features that Workflow has built in, but wrapping it with some other cool tools. So basically they were kicking the process off by sending a text, and that would go ahead and trigger Workflow using the REST API. And then it could go ahead and send, other signals basically to turn the power on or off. So definitely a pretty cool use of Workflow. I would probably turn the coffee maker on and off myself, but it's really cool to see how you can have Workflow interact with things that are not just within the repository.
I mean, that sounds insanely convenient. I'm going to be honest, I really don't like doing laundry. So is there a way that I could take Workflow and have it do my laundry, fold my laundry? How could I become enough of an expert to make that happen? Because I think that'd be very helpful in my life.
So I think you should just do your laundry, but we do have a lot of resources out there for you. So if you're just getting started, we have the Getting Started guide. We have online certification videos, so you can take these interactive classes online at your own pace and get certified. Of course, you can also post on Laserfiche Answers, which is our user forum. We also have a lot of people, you'll see these people on there answering questions for people all the time. And we also have in-person training. So like I mentioned earlier, Presales conducts user trainings all around the country. And you can come sit with us in person and we'll teach you all the things you need to know. And of course, you can come to Laserfiche Empower. You can get a lot of help there.
Well, that's good to know about that. I think I need to get on that pretty soon. But unfortunately, guys, we've run out of time. Before we go, I wanted to share a question that was posed by one of our users, and I wanted to see if you could answer it based on your unique viewpoints. What opportunities for growth do you see in the future of ECM? Connie, why don't you start us off?
Well, one thing that I think I'm really excited about for the future is providing ways for users to be able to access their information, their content in sort of a unified way, kind of like a dashboard, because people have documents, they have discussions, they have tasks, they have maybe analytics and reporting, right now we have a lot of tools for that kind of thing, but it's nice to be able to pull it together into like a one-stop shopping for that kind of information. I'm really excited about that moving forward.
Pama?
Well, I think what I see as sort of the future possibilities for ECM lie in machine learning and AI. For example, when it comes to capture, the idea of having intelligent capture. For example, pretty much all organizations have invoices and purchase orders, but they'll come in from all different organizations and you can't control them. They're not standardized, but they all have the same information that you want to extract, a PO number, the total cost. And so the idea behind intelligent capture is to look at those documents and learn and know, hey, this is where this piece of information is, even if it's in a different place from invoice to invoice. And this same idea also has applications for things like robotic process automation, where you set it up and that's great, and then the external site changes how it looks. And the idea here is that the machine can learn, hey, I know what I was trying to get, this is where it's moved to, and it'll keep working. You don't have to keep going back and updating it.
Anita?
Yeah, so my answer kind of blends Connie and Pava's responses, but with Laserfiche and kind of the growth of the enterprise, what I hear a lot of customers asking for is a place for all of their information to be centralized, whether it's things that they're storing or something that's coming from a process. So as we're getting all that information, I think where Laserfiche is really going to grow is on the analytics side, making the most of the information that's stored in there, and with that machine learning, giving you some insights into what you can do better at your own organization.
And finally, Andrew.
So kind of what everyone here summed it up is just that I see that there's no boundary between enterprise content management, ECM, and business process management, BPM. Because what really matters is that Laserfiche as a whole makes a product that our community wants, and making something for them that they don't even know that they want yet. So for me, I feel that by basically having ECM and BPM together, not having a boundary really, makes us Laserfiche and makes us develop and put us into forefront into making the whole entire enterprise content management, business process management into one singularity and make it so that our customers will be very, very satisfied and empowered by us.
Thanks for that, everyone. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed your time here with us. Now, go and apply all of this amazing Laserfiche knowledge. And if you'd like to meet these amazing guests in person, learn some more tips and tricks to get the most out of your system, or try out the escape room, then we hope to see you at Empower 2019.